Often you hear pagan Christians, that's churchgoers, talking about prayer and how they want their prayers to be answered. Now, I'm not talking about believers now, I'm talking about churchgoers. They complain and mourn about the fact that their prayers aren't answered. First of all, they're not real believers. There may be real believers amongst them, but churchgoers are not real believers. There are real believers going to church, but churchgoers, just churchgoers, are not believers. Straight up. They mourn and complain that they want their prayers answered. They never consider that their prayers will have consequences. They don't want to consider it. And this is what you need to understand. And this is something that pagans understand. A pagan, whether it's a pagan from the Buddhist religion, or a pagan from Swahili, or a pagan from the Amazon tribe, or just a common pagan from Britain, common pagan, you get what I'm saying? Pagans understand that their prayers, or better said, their spiritual decrees will have consequences. And they know that once they've set something in motion, there is no turning back. So pagans think twice, sometimes thrice, before they make their prayers. They do. They decree and they declare, they do all of those things. But they think thrice before decreeing and declaring. Now, we walk by faith. So we are not supposed to be like the pagans. Now, pagans decree and declare in a pagan way, in a cyclical way, because they are holding on to cycles. That's what pagans do. That's their security. We are not like that. We pray, we decree, and we declare in freedom. They decree and declare in liberty, which means that they have space of movement within a cycle. So pagans have liberty. They have a little bit of space in a cycle. We have freedom. So our ways of decreeing and declaring ought to be different. That's why Christ said we shouldn't pray in public to be recognized by other people. That's something pagans do. And indeed, it's powerful. But we, because we don't depend on cycles, we don't have to do that. Pagans often repeat their prayers in a ritual way. And it works for them because they are operating in a cycle. They are in liberty. We are in freedom. But whether you are in freedom or in liberty, you should understand. And I'm speaking to those in freedom now, not those in liberty. If you are in liberty, I want you to become born again, to forfeit your pagan ways and learn the ways of Christ. I'm talking to those in freedom. We must understand that our prayers will have consequences that can't be reversed. Let me say it like this. If you have a pagan, and the pagan wants to earn extra money, the pagan knows he can go to some ritual shop and he can purchase some confusion oil or some other charmed water or whatever, and he can use it, do money rituals, and doors will open. There will be more income. He will have to make another bank account. He will have to do something in daily life, but because he has the empowerment, extra income will come. And because he's using empowerment, he doesn't have to sweat like other people do. So he'll get passive income, not passive in the absolute sense. Of course, he's doing something, but it doesn't cost him hours of his life, like people in a 9-to-5. So pagans can do that, and they do it. But the pagan knows the moment he has an extra income, it's going to be noticed. And once people notice your extra income, they're going to ask questions. Now, when the authorities or the banks see that you have an extra income, because the income has a legitimate source, it comes from somewhere, they can't do much about it, but they will notice it's strange that suddenly you have extra income. And they don't see you making all that extra effort. You don't have those big connections in Hollywood, nor in the corporate world. Yet you're making a huge income. They can't prosecute you, but they'll pay attention to you. So the pagan understands, okay, if I want extra income, I'll have people watching me. I'll have people spying on me. The pagan also understands that when you have more income, your attitude will change automatically. It's not something you control. It's just the way it is. The moment you have more financial options, your attitude and your behavior will change. You will be affected by the new situation. And whether you want it or not, others will notice a change about you. Even if you lower your appearances by pretending to be broke, people will notice it. They will see through it. It's just a matter of time. And when they see through it, people then want to rationalize how it's possible for you to have an extra income. And they can't rationalize it because it's a spiritual manifestation. So when they can't rationalize it, and that will happen, they'll become anxious. And they will project this pain of this anxiety onto you. They will blame you for the anxiety they have, but that anxiety is a result of their limited way of thinking. So they'll blame you for their limited way of thinking. And once they've blamed you, they'll believe the lie that it's you that made them anxious. Now, you may have triggered their anxiety, but that anxiety was there already, and they're the ones that are holding on to it. But they will blame you, and you'll become the target of violence. First, they will make toxic remarks that don't add up. Then it will come full accusations, and before you know it, you will have a mob coming to take your life. Or, if you want to do it in a legal way, they'll do it through the court system. They'll make false police reports, they'll set you up, they'll do whatever they can to make life hard on you, and they'll even conduct smear campaigns to ruin your reputation. The pagan knows the moment I have more income, consequences will come. So the pagan thinks twice. Am I willing to deal with these consequences? Am I able to deal with them? If I decide that I am able to deal with them, I must have a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. If the pagan who wants extra income lives in a 2-room flat somewhere, he knows that all the people around were stuck at 9 to 5 may turn on him. So he knows he has to move away from there. Because if people turn against him and they're all around him, he's in danger. So he has a plan B. Where do I want to live when the extra income comes? He will have a plan C. Because to have all his finances on one account may be risky. So he will make more accounts here and there. So the pagan understands he needs to deal with consequences once his prayers are answered. Another example. There are people praying for a spouse. Nothing wrong with that. Natural sexual longings and drives, as God intended to be. Nothing wrong with praying for a spouse. But are they willing to actually be a spouse when the individual from the opposite sex arrives? Because it's something that often happens. You have those people, they go to some pagan pastor, or they may even ask a real believer to pray for them. Let's say you have someone who doesn't rely on Christ, but they claim the name of Christ and they ask you to pray for them that they will find a spouse. And you, being a real believer, you don't have much experience with spiritual warfare, so you think, okay, I'm going to pray for them. And because you pray for them, what you pray for works out. They'll meet someone. And then you'll see on Instagram that, well, you'll see the wedding picture and think, huh? They're married already? I prayed 2 weeks ago and not already. Yes, your prayer is powerful. But look at this. What you did for that individual praying for him or praying for her, there's something wrong with that. And you pray for something natural. For them to have a sexual partner in a safe relationship. So there's nothing wrong with that. But look at this. What you prayed for was right. What you prayed for was good. But are they willing to deal with the good? Why did they ask for a spouse? It's because they wanted better, right? But are they willing to deal with the better? And here's where it comes in. Let's say you pray for them to find a spouse, and they find someone. But they have their own toxic issues that they don't want to face. What's going to happen? They'll have a spouse, but then those toxic issues will manifest, and then you'll have domestic violence. They may end up in a divorce, or if they have children together, the children will grow up in a traumatized household, and that will attract demons. And eventually, they will blame you, as if you were the one that caused it all to happen. No, the only thing you did was you gave in to their request and they got what they wanted. But they were not ready to deal with what they wanted. But that's on them. They asked for it, but they were not ready for it. And now, because you were the one that enabled them to get what they want, they're going to blame you as if you forced them to get what they want. You have people like that. Now, a real believer will not act like that. A real believer has the basic sense, okay, if I want something, okay, I need to deal with it. But worldly people in general, they are like that. They want something, and once they get what they want, and it disappoints, they now want to flee from the situation. If they have to admit that they're the one that wanted it, but they were not well prepared, if they do that, that means that they agree that they need to look for a solution and comply with the solution. If they do that, there's nothing wrong. But what often happens with worldly people? When they get what they want, it doesn't matter if what they want is correct or not, or appropriate or not. When they get what they want and it disappoints, or they see that there are side effects, they now want to flee. They want to blame someone else, or if they can't blame someone else, they just ghost. So they don't just ghost the people around them. Understand that your prayers will have consequences. There will be reactions to your prayers, not by God, but by demonic entities. Demons will react to your manifestations with retaliation through reprobate people. Reprobate people by themselves will act out against you because you walk in the power of Christ. But demons will use them in the reprobate state to hinder your manifestation. So there will be a fight. Demons know they've lost. They know that they're doomed. But they're not going to allow you, a believer, to walk by faith on the earth, doing God's will in ease. They will never give up. They know they will perish, but they won't perish without a fight. That's what demons do. The same with reprobate people. And there are delusional people out there who will not give up when they see that they're losing. And they'll escalate. And they become dangerous just to relieve themselves. You'll encounter all of these things when you walk by faith. And this is why many believers, I'm not talking about churchgoers, I'm talking about believers. This is why many believers, they perish due to lack of knowledge. What knowledge? The simple understanding that prayers will have consequences that you need to live with. And here's another thing. When you pray, you affect circumstances on the earth. And you're not the only one on the earth. So you will also affect other people with your prayers. So if you pray for something, and what you prayed for was good, there's nothing wrong with your prayer, but your prayer receives retaliation by other people, others will also deal with that retaliation. It can be that you wanted to purchase your own house. And you begin to pray, decree and declare. And before you know it, you have your own house. It's a very big one. And now, others find out that you have your house. And those that find out, whether it's through social media or whatever, they become upset. You're not around for them to dump their anger on you. But they may have children, they may have a spouse, or they may be at work. So now others around them will feel their anger and they'll be the victim of their anger. Is it your fault this individual is operating in darkness and building up anger? No. That they were triggered by your manifested prayer, that's not you. That's their darkness that they need to be freed from. But because they don't seek deliverance, they are triggered and now they are a walking time bomb and others around them are in danger. So your prayer indirectly affected the lives of those other people in a sense now that they need to look for safety. And if they don't, bad stuff will happen. Now, did you cause those bad stuff to happen? No. But your prayer had a role in it. So the pagan will pray for a house, but he will do it in such a way that others are distracted so that nobody will notice it. And the pagan may show off, but it will show off later, way after the fact. So if a pagan gets a house in January, he will show off in October. Oh, look at my new house. And people think, huh? You got a new house? But he got the house already in January, but he's showing it in October. So the pagan knows he needs to deal with consequences. Look, my question to you, believer, is, are you ready when it's going down? When it's going down, I'm talking about the manifestation of your prayer, decrees, and declarations. Are you ready to deal with it? Are you ready to face the fact that some people will want you out of their lives because you attract retaliation? And that retaliation will also affect them. And they don't have the protection you have, so they'll be in danger. So will you be able to deal with it when people suddenly don't want you around anymore? It happened to Christ. It happened to the apostles. Are you ready to deal with the fact that there will be a lot of scammers coming your way trying to exploit your anointing? So are you willing to educate yourself in Christ to understand what scammers want and how to recognize them and how to deal with them in a constructive manner? Are you willing to actually live with what you're praying for? Remember, you are in freedom, not in liberty. The pagan has the relief because he's in liberty or she's in liberty. And because they are in liberty, there's some similarity with commoners. But because you operate in freedom, there's no direct similarity between you and the commoner. So the commoner that's triggered by you has nothing to relate to when the manifestation happens. So that's why the commoner will likely turn on you and not on the pagan. You get it? This doesn't mean that pagans don't face persecution nor retaliation by commoners. They do. Yes, they do. But because there's a similarity between them and the commoners are still somewhat at ease with them. But you are called to walk in freedom. So things will not happen for you in a cyclical manner as it does with pagans. So are you willing and ready when it's going down? Because it will go down, but are you ready for it? That's it for now. Keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.